Children who are well cared for have such a natural ability to accept love and even come to expect it. But over time, encounters with the harsher side of reality and the hardening of our individual mindsets can cause a separation from the love we once knew so well. Author Ananjan Mitter and his collection of insightful prose aim to take back the ability to feel and openly accept love again. Chad Tuthill talks to Ananjan about his book, Pilgrim on the Way of Love, and the wisdom gained from his journey so far.
What was the inspiration behind the prose-like structure of your writing?
Well, this is just what came to me when I wrote, but of course the inspiration is experience, life experience really.
And you wrote it over a period of time. How long did you write all the different prose that you included?
In this book, it's a 22-year span of writing.
Wow.
It started when I was 21 years old and went on for 22 years.
You write that the recommended mode of reading is to read each verse, see the contextual comment at the bottom, and then read the same verse again. Do you feel it warrants multiple reads to fully absorb the meanings of your writing?
The writings, I think, they have several layers, and how you perceive it, it also depends on what is going through in you and what has been your experiences. When you read it like that once and then again, I think you will experience that you're absorbing more out of it and creating a unique frequency for yourself when you're reading it.
You were a lawyer at one point. What made you leave that profession?
I kind of retired from formal practice, and I think I outlived the kind of legal practice that we lawyers do with man-made laws and things that make sense at one level, but not at levels which we truly live in.
You wrote, "A child is born with the birthright to be loved. It is foremost in his consciousness, and he knows no other. As he grows up in years, this consciousness starts fading away. Why do we lose sight of that beautiful birthright?"
I think, Chad, that's a fundamental question in the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
Love, as we all know, it is something which all of us experience, I think, without exception. But a lot of us, I think most of us, also experience a separation from love. That's innate in the human experience. And it happens with age and experience in the way we live our lives. It's like innocence giving way to experience.
How do we get it back?
That's the question. And that's, I think, something which I hit upon in my experiences of life. And that kind of inspired me to relook at what I had written. And it came out in the form of a book.
You were accused of being disrespectful to social elders for not bending to touch their feet in deference, which is a social practice that is customary in Bengal. What was your mindset about that traditional practice?
Well, it's like you meet someone and you say, "How are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
It is good. Now, how many times do you mean it? It's just a kind of greeting.
Right.
Now, that was like when you meet someone who's older to you in years, you're expected to touch that person's feet.
Just automatically.
Just automatically. And I thought that was kind of bowing down to someone without really meaning to. Is disrespectful to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you could only do that to something which is very valuable, something which, like life and its experiences. And I will do that 1,000 times instead of bowing down to someone just for the sake of bowing down.
There's a line from the book that reads, "This is my world and I am alone. With lots of people around me, I strive for meaning and I reach out into a world unknown." Do you feel the solitude that you mentioned is something to be accepted and perhaps even celebrated as a step in our spiritual pilgrimage?
I think solitude is very important because when you have that space around yourself, as well as that space within yourself, that is when you truly grow.
Another great line you wrote is, "For I know which way your feet point when you walk upon the grass. They point toward one position that has no magnitude, as I walk my butterflies towards infinite certitude." Does this refer to the stubbornness of people who resist being open to the somewhat elusive nature of reality?
Well, you see, that is one layer of meaning that you have picked up, and I think that's beautiful. But what I meant there was it was a particular person and who would walk with her feet pointing inwards. And that is in science, I think in mathematics, that is the definition of point that has position but no magnitude.
Okay.
And my physical structure is such, I'm a bit butterfly-legged, so I walk with the feet pointing outwards. So it was just a physical expression, but it has, again, various levels of meaning.
Absolutely. Yeah, so like you said, you could read it multiple times and pull all those different abstract meanings away from it.
Yes. And
The book explores being confronted with the demon of inaction. In what ways can people conquer that obstacle and tap into the motivation of action?
I think a lot of us face this, that you want to do things, but for some reason or the other, you have an inner resistance. For me, it was like the feeling that I had while that was being written. It was like being in a virtual prison, that you want to do so many things, but you're stuck. Now, coming to think of it later, I thought that it was being caught in a lower frequency when you want to explore a higher frequency. I mean, there's no answer, clear answer as to how to conquer the demon of inaction. But I guess it's just living it through with awareness. Once you know that it's the demon of inaction, it's how you communicate with it, how you deal with it. And maybe if there are experiences of feelings that are holding you back, whether you're able to transmute it into a more subtle form of action.
1.
Independent voice
For all. This is
Bright New Voices.
the Balboa Press Hour.